Welcome to Eureka Math. I'm Mr. Shankel. I'm going to help you today with Module 2, Lesson 9. Let's get started. In Lesson 9, we are going to add and subtract decimals, but Lesson 9 first makes us change some fractions into decimals, and then we'll use the addition and subtraction algorithm and some special rules for dealing with the decimals to get our answers. So the first thing we do is we have to change 382 3/10 into a decimal. And since I know that 3/10 is a decimal place, tenths, there's a tenths place, it's the first place after the decimal point, then I know that that can be changed into 300, oh come on pen, 382.3. So 3 is in the tenths place, so that's 3/10. And then we're going to subtract 191, 191, and then 87 hundredths. Well, that's 87 in the hundredths place. So 2 places after the decimals, the hundredths place. That's 87 hundredths. So there's my decimals to begin with. Notice that I took my ones place and I lined them up. So these are all ones place digits. And then I've also got a spot for, that's the ones place. I've also got a spot for the tens. So there's the tens place. And then I've got a hundreds place. So here's the hundreds. Wow, I'm having a tough time with my pen today. Hundreds place. Those are all here. And then here's my tenths place. That's these. And then here's my hundredths place. So those are here. So I've got all of my place values lined up. And when that happens, I just happen to get my decimals lined up as well. And that's what you'll hear a lot is when you're adding or subtracting decimals, that you have to line up the decimals. Well, that's true, but it only happens because our place values are lined up. So now we can actually subtract. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me get rid of my arrow here. And when I subtract, I'm going to first add a 0 here because that doesn't change anything. And then I'm going to take 7 away from 0. Well, I can't do that, so I've got to do some borrowing. And what I'm really doing here is I'm borrowing a tenth and I'm changing it into hundredths. So how many tenths are in a hundredth? Well, there's 10. So I had 0, now I add the 1 here, and now I have 10. So 10 minus 7 is 3. And then I can't take 8 away from 2, so I have to borrow again. I'm borrowing a 1 this time. I'm changing it into tenths, so I know that it's 10 tenths in 1, so that gives me 12 altogether. And 12 minus 8 is 4. All right. And then 1 minus 1, that's 0. 8 minus 9 I can't do, so I need to borrow again. That becomes a 2. This becomes 18. So 18 minus 9 is 9, and 2 minus 1 is 1. And then the last thing we have to remember is the decimal comes straight down into our answer. So 382 3/10 minus 191 87 hundredths is equal to 190 43 hundredths. Okay, so there's a subtraction problem. Here's an addition. Addition here we would do 594 and 7/25. Well, we got to work on this. 7/25 is not a decimal place. 25ths is not a decimal place. We can either have tenths or hundredths or thousands. So I can change this into hundredths pretty easily by just multiplying by 4. And if I multiply by 4 on my denominator, I have to multiply by 4 in my numerator. And so 28 hundredths is the equivalent fraction. So I know that's 0.28. Okay? And then we're going to add 89 and 37 hundredths. Well, remember, I want my ones place and my tens place to be right underneath each other. So the 9's in the ones place, the 8's in the tens place, and then here's my 0.37. And there is my addition problem. And now when I add, I'm just going to use the addition algorithm. 8 plus 7 is 15. Carry the 1. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 9 plus 4 is 13. Carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 8 is 18. Okay, and then I carry the 1, and then 5 plus 1 is a 6. And then again, just like subtraction, my decimal goes straight into my answer, and I get 683 and 65 hundredths. So the keys to adding or subtracting decimals is to line up your place values. If you don't line up your place values, you're going to mess the answer up a lot. Because if you think about it, if this is our decimal place, that's the tenths. So a 7 in that spot means 7 tenths. But a 7 in the ones place means 7. And the 7 in the tens place means 70. And a 7 in the hundreds place means 700. So if we start mixing these place values up and adding and subtracting, we're not actually adding or subtracting correct values. So you have to line them up. That lines the decimals up, and we can effectively add and subtract with decimals. All right, hope that helps. I'll see you again next time.